Welcome to another episode of The Butler Did It. I'm your host, Adam Butler, back with another episode. Thank you so kindly for being here. Guys, no interview this week. We're rolling solo dolo because I got things I want to talk about that are heavy on my heart. Yeah, man, we're going to get into it. Before we jump into our mental health moment, though, I do want to say big shout outs to everyone that tuned into the last episode of the show. Thank you. Always appreciate you guys. Shouts out to everybody that checked out the heat check. The heat checks are back. Go to my Instagram, MSR_Adam. Check out the heat check. They are live. My last one is pretty cool. And I got to say to all my sneakerheads out there, I committed a cardinal sin because I misrepresented a sneaker. Okay. I called the sneaker in my heat check the fire red Jordan 4s. They are not the fire red Jordan 4s. I got mixed up. That's my bad. And they are the red cement Jordan 4s. Now, for those of you that don't care about sneakers, you're probably sitting at home listening to this and watching this and going, who gives a shit? Sneakerheads do. And they let me have it. So my bad. All right. But you can check out the heat check. That's on my Instagram, my TikTok, all of that. You can just go to MSR_Adam. Check out the heat check. We got a new one coming this week. Probably posting that later today or tomorrow. It'll be up. All right. Let's jump into it. Got a couple of things to talk about. But before that, we got to get our minds right, okay? My girl Danny is here with the mental health moment. What up, Danny?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Danielle, licensed behavioral health therapist, and I'm here today to provide you with a mental health moment. Today's mental health moment is a call to action. Sometimes your mental health and well-being is best served when you participate in acts of service. So today I'm challenging everyone to participate in an act of service. Donate to charity, volunteer your time, participate in a community renovation, feed and tend to the unhoused, pay for someone's meal, or even give someone a call just because. If your efforts are truly genuine and the outcome is positive, I guarantee you that you will experience some fulfillment, some joy, and you may even have a desire to do it again. So this is a call to action. Everyone, go out and do an act of service. And while you do that, remember, mind your mentals.
Okay, first topic on deck is something that is very, very disappointing to me. It kind of reminds me of the Scottie Pippen versus Michael Jordan thing. And it's this whole Stephen A. Smith versus Terrell Owens saga that's going on Twitter. All right. For those of you all that don't know what's going on, I will fill you in best as I can, okay? Let me start off by saying, though I recognize Stephen A. Smith as a controversial figure, I mean, he's a sports guy with a big mouth and a loud opinion. He knows this. I actually enjoy Stephen A. Smith. I'm actually a big fan of Stephen A. Smith, and I tend to agree with Stephen A. Smith on a lot of things. Of course, he's wrong about probably just as many things, but I don't hate Stephen A. Smith the way people do, especially black people do. Black men in particular seem to hate Stephen A. Smith, maybe because black men and men in general are into sports like that. So they watch Stephen A. Smith every now and then or a lot. And, yeah. Anyway, Stephen A. Smith, as I said, is a controversial figure. Stephen A. Smith, the host of First Take, has been the host of First Take for some time now. Started off with Skip Bayless, now has been holding it down, pretty much by himself and a plethora of guests for some time. Just brought Shannon Sharp on. The show's been really good with Shannon Sharp. Before that, though, he co-hosted the show with Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman is a white gentleman who had been an ESPN alum. Started off on Around the Horn and then other shows, had his own radio show. Was brought on the First Take after Skip Bayless left to go to Fox. Max Kellerman used to rap back in the day, okay? Now, I shouldn't just dwindle him down to that. He's more than that. Max Kellerman is a brilliant sports entertainment, and I'd call him a journalist, even if Stephen A. Smith doesn't consider him a journalist, as he said on the Joe Budden podcast, which we're going to get to in a moment. But Max Kellerman has been a sports personality for some time. He knows a lot about boxing. It's great on television, in my humble opinion. I like Max Kellerman. I've always liked Max Kellerman. And let's just keep it a buck because Mr. Butler did it, and I'm talking to y'all. He's one of those white guys that defend black people. He's one of those white guys that is socially aware, socially conscious. He's what the right would call woke. He's what they'd call woke. This is airborne, by the way. Don't be alarmed. This is airborne. Gotta get my vitamins. So Max and Stephen A. do the show for a couple of years. It's not the same as the Skip Bayless thing, but Skip Bayless is an insanely wild character. No one can really be Skip Bayless. Max, you could tell on air, seemed to have plucked the nerves, for lack of a better term, of Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith seemed annoyed by him a lot. They argued a lot, It wasn't working. And let me say right now, that's the bottom line. It was not working. It doesn't matter who was right and wrong in the situation. It was not working. They just did not blend, in my opinion. Okay. So one day, Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman are debating over the Colin Kaepernick situation. The Colin Kaepernick saga really took over the A block of First Take for some time. For as long as the Colin Kaepernick thing lasted, that's how long it was like the number one topic on First Take. Stephen A. took the stance of, I support Colin Kaepernick, but I don't like how he's going about it. Stephen A., from what I understood, took the stance of, obviously the kneeling thing and obviously the racial issues within the NFL need to be handled. But the way he's handling getting back into the NFL, this is how I understood it. The way Cap is handling trying to get back into the NFL while suing the NFL did not make sense to Stephen A. And Stephen A. would often say, I'm talking to people who are telling me this ain't going to work out. And he's also talking to people who have been trying to help Kaepernick, who had been trying to help Kaepernick. And from what Stephen A. said, Cap wasn't really trying to accept their help. Okay. Again, this is Stephen A.'s reporting. In Stephen A. Smith's defense, again, I am a fan of Stephen A. Smith, so it may even sound like I'm biased, but in Stephen A. Smith's defense, this is a guy that is in the know when it comes to the NFL and the NBA and knows players, talks to players, knows coaches, knows GMs, knows owners, A truth is a truth. Was it necessary to talk about that at the time? Was it missing the point? Maybe, but they talked about Kaepernick so much, with so much detail, that they weren't always just talking about was it right or wrong to kneel during the national anthem. Everyone agreed that it was totally okay to kneel during the national anthem, and everyone agreed that Colin Kaepernick should still be in the NFL today. But when you talk about one thing so much, and this is kind of the problem with like 24/7 sports and podcasts and internet conversations and internet shows and blogs and podcasts and YouTube streams and all of that, right? Is that we got to have something to talk about. So I want to quickly get to my point because, this isn't the point, but I just really want to explain what's going on. So they talk about Colin Kaepernick a lot. And Max Kellerman just would always take the stance that is wrong, is wrong, is wrong. No matter what the details are, it is wrong, which is true. They were both right. That's why I was like, why are y'all arguing? But anyway, Max Kellerman would just take the stance that, hey, man, it's wrong. Colin Kaepernick should be in the NFL. Period, point blank, stop. And people loved it. In fact, they loved it so much that we started inviting Max Kellerman to the cookout. We all know what the cookout is, black folks. We liked it so much that it made Stephen A. Smith look like a coon. The narrative around Stephen A. Smith started to change, and he probably heard it. I'm sure he heard it, and I'm sure he didn't love it. I wouldn't have loved it either. I'll even say, I remember back during the MSR show, my biggest critique of Cap, again, should have been in the NFL, should have never been kicked out of the NFL. Kneeling, there was no problem with kneeling. Soldiers even said that there was no problem with kneeling. A soldier gave him the idea to kneel during the national anthem. So that takes away the entire argument about disrespecting the flag. My only issue I had with Colin Kaepernick is that he let other people talk for him. Therefore, his message just got jumbled all up. I really wanted Cap to talk more during that time. That was me. I said that on my old show, on the MSR show, and got into big arguments with other folks and probably came off as if I was not supporting Colin Kaepernick. So I understand it. So Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith would debate over Colin Kaepernick a lot. One day they brought Terrell Owens on the show, and here we are getting to the point. One day they brought Terrell Owens on the show. And Terrell Owens, who was a wild character, I'm not going to walk through the history of Terrell Owens, just Google him. Terrell Owens is always into something, man. I know we all love him as a football player, but I mean, let's just keep it a buck. Terrell Owens was a wild and emotional and interesting guy. T.O.'s on the show. They're debating it, and T.O. blurts out in the middle of it, I mean, damn, Stephen A., I'm in the streets, and people are saying that Max Kellerman's coming off more black than you, which pissed Stephen A. Smith off. Wouldn't that piss you off? Let's just think about that for a second. Forget what you feel about Stephen A. Smith. Forget if you don't like that he yells on television. Forget that you don't like that he's arrogant, which he is. Forget that you don't like that he's on every show on ESPN. Forget that you don't like that, or you may not like that he is the most successful person on there, and he may even, he knows it, and he tells you that, and he has air about him, and he a little goofy, and this, that, and another. Forget all your, personal opinions about Stephen A. Smith. Just because you disagree, not about the larger issue about whether or not the person is right or wrong, but you're talking about a thing so much on your show, you're starting to talk about dirty details about, how does the man get back in the NFL, right? How does the man get back in the league? And you're a journalist, and you talk to people, and you're just reporting and sharing that I've talked to people, and if he wants to get back in the league, it ain't about him suing the league. It's about doing X, Y, and Z to get back in. Okay, that could be right. You can feel how you feel about that. But imagine someone literally challenging your loyalty to the race and saying that a white man is looking more black than you. I'm going to tell you something, man. I hate the term coon. I hate it. I hate when people call people coons. I've called different people coon in my life, and I look back at it and go, man, that was some really low shit to do. I remember I was on Facebook one day. We used to have a Facebook group, and there was a dude in there who just has different political ideologies than me. Simple as that. We have different political ideologies. And the man was sharing his opinion, which I disagree with, and I proceeded to call him a coon in all sorts of different ways. I thought I was being funny. Maybe it was funny in the moment, but it was completely immature of me and completely unfair. I can't take a person's blackness away from them. There's no uniform for being black. There's no rules to being black. We can agree and disagree. Max Kellerman didn't tell him he wasn't being black. Another black man came on television and told that man that white man is more black for him, which brings me to my point. Now there's a beef going on. The beef is happening because Stephen A. Smith, I should let you know that Max Kellerman was eventually released from First Take because Stephen A. Smith, who has said out loud publicly, I remember the first interview he did about it was on Ebro 2 years ago. He also wrote about it in his book. So he says, I've not read Stephen A.'s book, so, he quoted his own book, and other people have as well, that he did not like working with Max Kellerman, and that he felt like in order for the show to be as successful as possible, he and Max Kellerman had to go their separate ways. Now that he let the network decide whether or not Max is going to stay on First Take or Stephen A. was going to stay on First Take. Now, no one's stupid here. The superstar of the network goes to the bosses and goes, yo, it's either me or him. We know what it is. But Max Kellerman was released from First Take and then given 2 shows. I'm sorry. I'm not about to be crying for this white man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't even mean to sound like that, but I'm not about to be crying for this guy. Max Kellerman, who I love, like the man got released from a show and got a morning show and an afternoon show. Those are the facts. Feel how you feel about Stephen A. Smith. Feel how you want to feel. Max Kellerman did not get fired because Stephen A. Smith went to the bosses and said, hey, let's try to do something else. Now, ESPN has had layoffs years later, and Max Kellerman, unfortunately, was a part of those layoffs, but so were a bunch of black people, so were a lot of people. That is a totally different thing. So because of that, Stephen A. Smith, who has a new podcast, the Stephen A. Smith Show, was on the Joe Budden podcast, and Joe Budden asked him, how do you feel when people bring up the issue between, this is not a quote, how do you feel when people bring up the Max Kellerman thing? The first thing Stephen A. Smith said was, I take full accountability for how people may feel about it, but let me tell you what happened. Then he goes on to say, I didn't like working with him. Then he goes on to explain the things I just explained. Didn't even bring up the Terrell Owens situation. Okay. Brought up how he and Max, he felt like just didn't jive together. However, he didn't want Max to get fired. So when Max was let go from First Take, he didn't take credit for the man getting 2 shows, but he did mention that he did not want him to be fired from the network. He just wanted to see if they could do something else instead of working together on a debate show. And apparently they don't like working with each other. Okay. This goes viral. People talking about, because, people aren't big fans of Stephen A. Smith. And then and then people are sharing the clip of him, T.O., and Max Kellerman, and the whole Max blacker than you thing. People going, that's why he don't like Max Kellerman. T.O. stamps it and basically quote tweets it. I forgot exactly what he said, but basically, yeah, this my, I'm team Max, this, that, another. Stephen A. Smith is pissed off, threatened to expose him, basically. Kyrie Irving gets in the middle of it and says, yo, why don't y'all two, kind of squash this, in private. Stephen A. Smith goes word up. Did talk about it on his show. He only explained why he was so upset about it, and then explained that Terrell Owens tried to sue him for some other stuff. That's between them. Why am I bringing this up on this show? Because when I look at the comments after T.O. retweeted the Max Kellerman clip that Max Kellerman did not put up. Max Kellerman, to his credit, who I'm a fan of, by the way, Max Kellerman, to his credit, has said nothing. When T.O. said it, Max Kellerman stepped back and said, yo, yeah, Stephen A., go ahead, go ahead and take care of that. I'm out of it now, because it's a ridiculous thing to say. It's a ridiculous thing for a black man to tell another black man that a white man is being more black than him. I don't care. It's ridiculous. When I look at the comments surrounding this, I see a bunch of people, Team Max, Team Max, Team Max, Team Max. I see a bunch of people that love to see 2 black men argue. I've seen this before. People loved it when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in the face. Oh, they loved it. Doesn't matter if you thought the joke was inappropriate or not. Doesn't matter if you love Jada Pinkett. I love Jada Pinkett. Who doesn't love Jada Pinkett? Doesn't matter if Chris Rock cracked some jokes back in the day that you don't like. It doesn't matter even that Chris Rock was sitting with Jerry Seinfeld and them telling bad jokes using the N-word and allowing them to use the N-word. Comedy is a complicated thing. You don't have to laugh at it. You don't even have to like it. Straight up. I agree with Will Smith when Will Smith said that was a cowardly thing to do. I agree with Will Smith in his own words. You know why Will Smith feels like that? Because Will Smith is being a man about it. He's being an adult about it. He wasn't in the moment. He's been immature in the moment. It doesn't matter if his wife looked at him. I ain't even getting all that. I ain't even getting into his wife looked at him and made him feel like this, that, and another. None of that matters. Between those 2 men, that was a sucker move, and Will Smith knows it, and Will Smith said it, and I respect Will Smith for saying that. What I don't want to see is a constant beef between them. I don't want to see it. When Chris Rock did his special and he did his, last 5 minutes or whatever about Will Smith, that was the least funny part of the thing. Though I understand why the man that got slapped in the face on national television felt like he wanted to get his shit off real quick. I can understand that. It still felt like, damn, I hope you can heal from that, bro. And I do. Leslie Jones recently spoke about Chris Rock and said that Chris Rock had to go through like intense therapy because his mother saw him get slapped in the face. His daughters saw him get slapped in the face. His friends saw him get slapped in the face. America saw him get slapped in the face. And a lot of America told him he deserved to be slapped in the face. Ha ha, sucker, you's a punk. Ah, that's right, Will. Y'all love to see two black men fight. Y'all loved it when Scottie Pippen was going on Michael Jordan. You love it when you see Michael Jordan's son dating Scottie Pippen's ex-wife and mother of his children. You love it. You love to see these two black men, these icons fight. You love it. You love to see some ex-NFL player come from nowhere and cuss out Stephen A. Smith. You love it. You love to say you Team Max when two black men are fighting. Do you see where I'm going with this? Y'all be talking about unity all the time. Y'all be talking about, oh, I'm rooting for everybody black. No, you don't. You root for the black people you like. You root for the black people you agree with. You don't root for everybody black. I agree with Kyrie Irving on this one, who I have criticized. I agree with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving was the only mature person in the room. Kyrie Irving tweeted that dude, Stephen A. Smith, and said, yo, why don't you get on the phone with that brother? I don't want to see you get on your podcast and air him out. And as big of a fan of Stephen A. Smith as I am, I would have been highly disappointed if Stephen A. Smith would have got on his podcast and aired out Terrell Owens. Don't nobody want to see all that. Don't nobody want to see all that. At least I don't. Let me rephrase what I'm saying. Let me correct myself because clearly someone wants to see it. You. So you need to look in the mirror, man. You can't sit here and say you pro-black, black this, black that, blackity, black, black, black. Black love, oh, I love black people, black this, black that. And then when a black man disagree with you, or a black woman disagree with you, she this, she that. Black women get hit in the face with a brick and you trying to figure out why she lying to you. Like, be real, man. Keep it real with yourself. You support people that you agree with. You support black people that you agree with. We all do. We all do. But we all need to do better with this one, man. And if there's any point in history, not counting slavery, but if there's any point in history where black people need to stick together and support themselves, it's right now. So now you ain't gonna find me on Twitter cheering on Team Scotty, Team Mike, Team Will, Team Chris, Team Stephen A, Team T.O., Team Max Kellerman, who ain't even got nothing to do with this. When Stephen A. Smith was talking about it on the Joe Budden podcast, he didn't even mention the Terrell Owens thing. He didn't even mention, Max Kellerman was kind of showing me up on racial issues, and I ain't like that. He didn't mention that at all. All he said is, I didn't like working with him. And we tried to, split in a mature manner, and I wanted to make sure the man landed on his feet. I like him. I have no problem with him. He kept it real. We don't talk like that, but he thought he was super duper talented. That's what he said. Go look at the clip. He never disrespected Max Kellerman. So why are you riding so hard for Max Kellerman? I even understand the Will and Chris thing because there was a black woman involved. I get that. That don't mean it's right to want two black men to fight and another black man to just get humiliated on national television in front of one of the biggest audiences in the world. I just can't ride with that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to take somebody who's been a champion for black people, though he cracks jokes and you may not like, and turn him into the world's biggest coon because you disagree with a joke or a comment. He was wrong in the moment. Don't make him a bad person. Okay, Michael Jordan may have been arrogant. Yeah, he may have made a documentary that leaned more towards favoring him than Scottie Pippen. That don't mean I want to destroy Michael Jordan's legacy. And no, I don't want to watch Scottie Pippen just get embarrassed all the time. All this makes me sad. And I just had to get that off my chest, man. I just don't like it. Either you ride for black folks or you don't. And if you ride for black folks, you ride for all sorts of black folks, conservative black folks, liberal black folks, gay black folks, straight black folks from the hood, black folks from the burbs, black folks from middle America, black people that grew up in environments that are nothing like the environment you grew up in, black people that aren't college educated, black people that are college educated, black people in Greek organizations, black people that aren't in Greek organizations, black people that did time, black people that never even ever thought about doing time. Black people come in all sorts of shapes and flavors. There's no one way to be black. So cut that shit, man. All right, the aggression, I'm bringing the aggression down now. Okay, got that off my chest.